In this episode of Fictional Hangover, we talk about having hooves on the inside, what constitutes a rat king, encountering a stock photo headmaster, not doing cannibalism, and how books are windows and books are mirrors, in our discussion of Where the Drowned Girls Go by Seanan McGuire. Hey everybody, welcome to Fictional Hangover, a podcast about young adult and new adult, and sometimes other books, series, authors, voice actors, and illustrators that is full of spoilers. I'm Amanda.
And I'm Claire, and today we're going to discuss Where the Drowned Girls Go by Seanan McGuire.
Standard disclaimer. If you haven't read this book, please remember that Fictional Hangover is all about spoilers. If you haven't read or listened and don't want to be spoiled, stop listening to us and go read or listen to the book, then come back. If you haven't done this but want to pretend that you have, or if you don't care about spoilers, or if you just like the show so much that you don't care about any of that, then listen. I can't even look at you right now.
I'm trying not to look at you. Oh, I nearly put me side. Oh, there we go.
It's fine.
Professionals. It's fine. What are you talking about? It's fine.
Everything's fine.
Okay, let's be sensible now.
Yes.
We're all
Please.
adults here.
Please. Old adults.
Old, creaky adult. Yeah, I've nearly pulled a stomach muscle laughing. This is ridiculous. Jesus.
I'm sorry. And we've only been recording for a few minutes.
Most of that's nonsense. Okay, let's be serious. Let's talk some background information.
Okay. So, shocking no one, because we're talking about wayward children, we're revisiting the Nerdist article again.
Yay.
But I think this time it's actually like realistically the last time. And I know that we've talked about just choosing random words and making something for the next ones, but really, this is the end of this article.
Oh, it's a sad day.
I know. Gosh.
It's a really sad day.
Yeah. So I pulled the information about, this book, Where the Drowned Girls Go. And she describes Whitethorn being set up like a scary gothic boarding school. But she says it's also like gay conversion camps.
Oh,
where
scary.
It's absolutely legal to do that and, torture queer teens. So, yeah, that's horrible. And that just, normally, if we were discussing something and it is described as a scary gothic boarding school from a horror movie, I'm like, yes.
Well, if we stop with that sentence, I'm happy.
Yeah. No.
I don't want the rest.
No. So she knew that Whitethorn was going to be traumatic for a lot of people because, obviously it's terrible. But she goes on to say, so we're following Cora as she begins to understand that denying you are hurt is not the way to heal. She's grappling with her trauma and finding some ways of recovering from her trauma. She's not healed at the end of the book. That's not how trauma works. But she's in a better position to take care of Cora and stop hurting herself to help the people that hurt her in the first place. But then, the last bit of it, because that part, it's very moving and serious. But then she says, it was also really convenient because it let me introduce like half a dozen new characters. Because when you murder people as often as I do, you run out.
Love it.
Yes. Yeah.
See, I was thinking what I want is a gothic boarding school with murder.
Yeah.
I don't want the horror
No.
the evangelical bullshit.
No.
But murder.
Murder. Yes.
And ghosts.
Yes.
Murder and ghosts. That's what we want.
I like that. Well, we have a few more months of the year to look forward to. I believe the theme of November sounds like murder, so I'm sure we're gonna have something good in that one.
I just keep referring to November as Murder Month as well.
Yeah, of course, as you do. Yeah.
Oh, and October Spooky Month, so yay.
Yes, and then December is 90s?
Spooky Month, because December, yes. It's booyah, it's the 90s. Yo, dude, my dude.
Yeah, and that's how we're going to talk in every episode. What are
I sent you months ago a list of books to cover in December, and then I got a message back saying, Claire, it's March.
Yeah? Well, I mean, we're ready. You're ready. You're readier than I am. That's right, readier.
Readier. I'm a forward planner when it comes to the Christmas books.
Yes, definitely. Okay. What are your initial thoughts of this one?
I think this is one of my favourites so far.
Same.
I mean, I really enjoyed the first Jack and Jill story. I really enjoyed that one.
Yes.
But I think actually it was just so different. All of the books are different.
Right.
Which is one of the best things about this season, this series.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's one of my favourites so far.
Yeah, I really liked this one. And I think that it's because we didn't love the last one much at all.
No.
So it was really refreshing to get back to a story, that we liked more. It was more our style.
It is setting with characters that we like. Yeah, I get that.
Yeah.
But I still think, regardless of the hooflands, it was a good story. It was interesting. It had intrigue. It had mystery.
Mm-hmm.
And it had some reoccurring characters that we love and some new ones that are very interesting we want to find out more about.
Yes.
And those are the elements that we were missing in the last one.
Yeah. And now, last one we talked about how we kind of felt a little jarred because we were like, who the hell is this character? Yeah. We've never seen her before. Like, what is this story? Why are we meant to care about this person? We don't know them. But now we see her again.
Now we know. That makes a lot more sense.
Now we know. Yes. And it's much better this way. So shall we dig in?
Yes.
Okay. It's been well documented in fairy tales and folk tales, in myths and legends, that children are drawn to doorways to other worlds. Sometimes those children complete quests and live out their days in their worlds beyond the doors, and some die and are buried in graves, as heroes or as monsters. Sometimes those children come back, either by choice or not, but with pieces missing, and they never feel whole again, or they feel lost in a world they once thought they knew. When Eleanor West opened her home for wayward children, she knew not all children she saved would truly be saved, but she knew she had to try.
Cora wakes from a nightmare, which is typical now that she is back home from the moors. Her roommate, Antoinette, Auntie, is still sound asleep. They don't really have anything in common. Their doors were very different. Cora went to the trenches and became a mermaid. Auntie went to a world filled with lost things. After all, she was lost, so why not go where the lost things go? Cora sneaks out of her room and toward the bathroom, all the while to hear the whispers of the drowned gods from the moors, calling for her, reaching for her, never giving her any peace. She fills the bathtub with hot water and scents and bubbles, very different to the cold, dreary water of the moors, and is finally able to rest.
Cora's childhood was full of bullies and eating disorders, and her parents telling her there's nothing wrong with her, and more bullying, and more eating disorders, and even more bullying, until the day Cora walked into the sea, determined to drown. Instead of dying, Cora was washed away to the trenches, where she became a mermaid, and her brown hair turned bluish-green to match her scaly tail. She swam for the queen and fought the serpent of frozen tears and flirted with sirens and was happy until she got caught in the serpent's whirlpool and was sent back to the world she drowned to get away from. She washed up on shore, naked, with perfectly blue-green hair everywhere there was to be hair, and was again mocked and bullied. Then Eleanor came, and Cora left her family again to go to the wayward school.
Now Cora visits Eleanor in her office, still dripping from the bathtub, her oil-slick rainbow skin left on her from the time in the moors, drying out. Cora tells Eleanor that she wants to go to the other school that Eleanor has mentioned before, the one that will help her forget going through any doorways. The drowned gods keep whispering to her, and she's afraid if she were to go back to the trenches, they would follow her there and be a greater evil than the serpent of frozen tears, and she can't have that. She needs to forget. Antsy pops her head into the office with a set of keys Eleanor lost 20 years ago, declaring she lost her roommate. But here she is, found, and if she hadn't found the keys, then she wouldn't have found her roommate. And then she skips off to class.
Cora pleads with Eleanor that if she doesn't get to go to the other school, the Whitethorn Institute, then she will succeed in taking her own life, because she's done it before. Cora leaves while Eleanor feels as though she's failed. Cora heads to class, but stops by the cafeteria first and runs into Cade. Ah, Cade. He escorts her. Kind as always. Friendly as always. We love Cade. Cora is only in class for a little bit before Sumi delivers a message that Eleanor has called her back. It's surprisingly simple to switch schools, apparently. At least, it's easy to get into Whitethorn. It might be nearly impossible to get back out.
Cora is given a uniform with shoes just a little bit too tight and flown across the country and then chauffeured to Whitehorn Institute. It's made up of miles of wooded ground surrounded by a 10-foot-high wall. Nearly everything inside is shades of black and white and grey, except for Cora and her rainbow skin and blue hair. It's nothing like Eleanor's school, and after meeting the headmaster, she immediately wants to go back home. But she is home now. Headmaster Whitehorn, a remarkably unremarkable man who Cora thinks she might forget if she looks away from him, asks Cora about going through her door and being spit back out again. And Cora clarifies she's been through multiple doors, but that she wants to escape the voices from the last one. She wants to forget. The headmaster assures her that that is what she will learn at Whitehorn.
2 months have passed, and the drowned gods are still whispering to Cora. She wakes one morning at the 5:25 alarm after a night of barely sleeping, to the rest of the girls in her dorm rushing her to get up, get dressed, and make her bed. Dude, it's 5:25 in the morning. No. Nah, dog. Nah. They are due for an inspection, and Cora's untidiness will lead to a demerit, which they do not want. One girl, a very small, bossy girl that Cora isn't sure has a name, or maybe she did, but it was taken away as punishment, is the meanest of all. And another, Emily, tries to stop her. But then it's time for morning announcements, and all the girls stop talking and listen.
The headmaster begins his speech as usual, but today's announcement mentions one of the girls in another dorm will be graduating. Reagan Lewis begins speaking, blathering on in a voice as exciting as oatmeal about how she's completed her journey at Whitehorn and she'll be going back to her home and school, but her work hasn't ended, and then she abruptly stops, basically saying it's all horseshit.
Horse pun.
And that she did go to a different world and she believes in unicorns and she didn't want to be a hero, but this institute isn't going to make her a villain. The loudspeaker, or is it a tannoy cuts off. No one in Cora's dorm says a word.
Not the tannoy.
I love a callback. I love a callback.
The matron of Cora's dorm comes in for inspection and asks Emily, the only girl that's been any sort of nice to Cora, if scarecrows can talk. Obviously, this is meant to be triggering to Emily. So, while she is stunned, Cora answers for her, but pretends she didn't realize that the question was meant only to torture Emily. The matron moves on to the unnamed girl and says she's going to measure her later, hoping she will have gotten bigger, which is weird. And it's even weirder when the matron says the girl's name, but no sound comes out. The matron leaves. Emily cries. Cora tries to help her, but the nameless girl bullies her and mocks her weight and tells her she has no friends. Just as Cora is about to break down, the matron returns with a new student added to their dorm. Sumi! Yay! But what? Wait, what?
No.
What?
Oh,
Sumi?
okay. Sumi is there because Auntie can find anything, and they all knew that Cora was missing, so they asked her where she went. Since they all know that Sumi will most definitely get to go back through her dorm again one day, since they meet her daughter a few books ago, it was decided that Sumi will be the one to come and rescue Cora. But Cora doesn't need to be rescued. She came here of her own accord. There's a little bit of an introduction to Sumi, and the girls go to breakfast, where there's lots of bullying, and then they spot Reagan sitting by herself. She didn't get to graduate and go back home or to the Hooflands, as she obviously really wanted to, so what's going to happen to her now? No one knows, which means can't be good.
In class, Sumi daydreams, as everyone would expect Sumi to do, and when she's called on to answer a question she definitely wasn't paying attention to, she answers very nonsensically and then calls the teacher out for knowing the doors exist but acting like they're the worst things in the world. As punishment for asking questions and being truthful, yikes, Sumi gets sent to the headmaster's office, and Cora is made to escort her.
Along the way, they hear someone crying and find Reagan alone in a classroom. Sumi introduces herself in a wildly ridiculous way, which, I mean, come on, Sumi, and asks Reagan to do the same so they can believe and trust each other. Then Sumi hits Reagan, telling her they need to talk more, but if they want to talk, they won't be able to because the matrons won't let them, so they have to trick them. This logic actually makes very good sense.
It's very weird, though.
It's a confusing logic, but it does make sense. Sumi takes off running down the hallways, stripping completely naked, and then all three girls are sent to this solitary confinement. The headmaster tells Cora he's very disappointed in her after throwing water in her face, and she realises that he's a monster, and that, as heroes, she and the other students at Whitehorn will have to defeat him. This is why, in my head, there was a montage of them all putting on, like, armour and getting, like, bows and arrows and, you know, swords and stuff. And it turns into a little bit of a LARPing D&D adventure.
Yeah, and that's fine. I like that. For 3 days, Cora is kept in solitary and not fed. Fortunately, she spends most of her time there dreaming, and in her dreams, she conquers the whispers of the drowned gods. Whitethorn was meant to change her, but she refused their change, which gave her the strength to refuse the drowned gods too. All the rainbows move from her skin to her hair, and when she finally gets to go back to her dorm, she tells Sumi it's time for them to leave. At first, the nameless girl and her friend Rowena are shitty to Cora, but Emily and another girl, Stephanie, stick up for her. She tells them all that the school is a prison and it's not helping them, and it seems only Rowena disagrees. She had a roommate that tried to leave by writing home to her family, but the matrons never sent those letters. So Rowena believes they're trapped until they graduate. The nameless girl agrees with Cora and tells her her name, but only white noise comes from her mouth. And for some reason, that is just so scary to me.
Oh, it was weird.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah. It's excellent, but it was...
Right. Oh. The nameless girl says she wants to go home. They begin to plan, and even Rowena helps.
The next day, Cora is perfectly plain and normal until all the matrons are pleased. Before blandly leaving the cafeteria, she catches Regan's eye and winks. All Cora's classes go well, and then, in one, the headmaster enters. He requests of Miss Lennox, the matron he called by name, which is unheard of, that Cora accompany him to his office. Rowena asks if they can continue their lesson without Cora, and the headmaster grants them permission to take a walk on the grounds. In his office, the headmaster tells Cora he thinks she and Sumi are up to something, a plan to escape, and she pretends that they are not. As she is about to be dismissed to rejoin her classmates, Cora asks the headmaster a question. She asks why she can only remember his face when she is looking at him, and he smiles.
The headmaster tells Cora that boys rarely get caught by doors for misogynistic reasons, obviously, but he is one of the few that did. The world he went to was flat and 2D, like paper, and the food, though delicious, felt like sawdust in his mouth. He easily ruled the 2D world, but he was sure, when the time came, that he wanted to go back to his own world. Before he left, the 2D people gave him a gift. They stripped him of his individuality. No one in this world would be able to recognize him or remember him when he was out of their sight. He was fortunate to grow up in the age of the internet because at least he could make a name for himself through text, and he went to school and decided to help people like him who were never saved. Cora thanks the headmaster for his story, and she is dismissed to find her classmates on their nature walk. But he warns her that there's a nice, big, refreshing lake on the grounds, too. Ugh, he's a jerk.
What an asshole.
Ugh.
Outside, Cora encounters Regan, which is weird because typically students who went to the worlds full of nature aren't permitted outside. In fact, everything about the school is the opposite of how anyone would want anything to be, but it seems like everyone has just kind of given up on what to do with her. Cora thinks she was used as bait for a trap, but she plans on getting out of Whitethorn and needs Regan's help. She asks her if she can speak to deer as well as horses and horse-like things, and she can. So they go to rejoin Cora's class. They begin to make a plan.
Miss Lennox is much nicer than she was before, when she didn't have a name, and welcomes Regan to join them, where the other matrons would have left her on her own. It just doesn't make sense to leave a student all alone and let her miss out on her studies. Cora takes a chance with the nicer Miss Lennox and asks to ask her a question. Of course she can ask her a question. She's a teacher and Cora is a student. Cora asks when Miss Lennox graduated, and she says immediately that she didn't. And then her brain shuts down and she starts screaming. Sumi asks her kindly if she is remembering and apologizes for what Miss Lennox was forced to leave behind on the other side of her door.
Miss Lennox's screams draw the attention of several other matrons who rush over. Sumi and Cora suggest that maybe something they encountered on the nature walk bit their matron, and that's why she's screaming. The matrons ask to make sure they didn't say anything that caused the screaming, and they deny it, so they send the students back to their dorm while they take Miss Lennox away. Cora immediately puts the other students into action, asking Rowena not to tattle on them, the nameless girl to find out what happens to Miss Lennox when the headmaster, who Cora believes is a fake, takes her name away, and asking Regan to go farther into the woods and ask a deer how they can escape. The nameless girl takes some convincing, but they finally all agree.
Back in the dorm, Cora asks each girl about her door. Emily went through a door at a haunted house, and it was Halloween every night, and she danced with monsters and scarecrows. Yes,
I want to
please.
Go there. I want to go
Same.
there.
Same. Stephanie's door led to a world with dinosaurs.
Oh, I kind of want to go there as well. Ba 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 ba. Sorry. Not sorry.
The nameless girl's door led to a world with rats and mice and took her away when she was unsafe in her home. Rowena's door took her to the Vale of Clocks. Though she looks like a teenager, she's only 11. She was gone from her home for 3 hours and aged 6 years. Her parents don't believe she is who she says she is, so she's at Whitethorn because she has nowhere else to go. If she went back through her door, she would die of old age in a month.
Oh, that sucks.
That's not a good door.
No, that's probably the worst we've heard so far.
Mm-hmm.
Cora tells them all that someone's door will be waiting for them when they get away from Whitethorn, and it's false headmaster. They question why she thinks the headmaster is fake, and she explains that his door took away his identity. So if you're not looking at him, you will not remember him, which means that no one would be able to remember that he has a school called Whitethorn. She says she thinks he gave Miss Lennox her name back as punishment, so she would remember everything, and then he could take it all away again. So she sends the nameless girl off to find out what they do with Miss Lennox's name when they take it. They plan on meeting back up later that night to go find Regan and her deer, who will lead them out of the school grounds. The stag calls himself Lord of the Forest, they all do. And after rejoicing on the inside that her doorway was real and that she really can talk to hooved creatures, he agrees to show Regan the way out of Whitethorn. Deer are not imaginative in their naming conventions.
No. The nameless girl, meanwhile, clambers up into the ceiling and makes her way to where the matrons are all sitting stoically while Miss Lennox, Julia, pleads with one of them, Carrie, to wake up. They were supposed to leave together when they graduated, but apparently they didn't graduate and they've been here, unable to leave. The real headmaster comes in then, and it's a guy everyone thought was the janitor. It's always the janitor.
Always. Never trust the janitor. If there's one thing horoscope taught us,
yes.
Don't trust the janitor.
Yes. He's upset that his stand-in messed things up by giving Miss Lennox her name, but then the nameless girl decides to take action. She jumps out of the ceiling onto his back and strangles him until he passes out, telling Miss Lennox to run.
That girl has some strength. It takes a long time and a lot of power to strangle somebody to unconsciousness.
Yeah, but, I mean, she's slowly turning into a rat.
She's wily.
She is. She's strong. She's dense.
I'm not messing with her.
No.
Well, at the door, Miss Lennox tells Cora and Sumi that it's not safe for any of them there, and that the headmaster wants to seal all the doors forever. They all agree to leave to whatever door will have them, and then they run. They find Regan in the woods, and she leads them to a pile of fallen trees near the wall, and they all climb out and jump up to the wall. Last of all is Rowena, but instead of climbing up and going with them, she tears down the pile so no one can follow them. Unfortunately, someone who sounds like the janitor approaches her and asks where everyone else went. She says, "Away from you," feeling proud that she wasn't afraid. But when the janitor puts his hands on Rowena, she doesn't feel proud anymore.
A short time later, a door from confection opens at Eleanor West's School for Wayward Children, and Sumi, Cora, Julia, Carrie, Emily, and the nameless girl tumble out. Stephanie's door came to her as the group traveled through a cookie tree forest, and she happily rejoined the dinosaurs. Cade rushes out to meet them, and while he and Cora spin around in delighted circles, the new girls to the school worry about being accepted. As they talk, the nameless girl finally remembers her name. She is called Marion. Marion, Julia, Carrie, Emily, Regan, Sumi, and Cora have made it away from Whitethorn to a place where they can be safe. Or at least not unsafe. Finally, until their doors come. Or until they don't.
Oh.
Hmm.
Oh.
Hmm.
Oh.
Hmm.
Oh.
Hmm.
Wow.
Yeah. Okay. Take a break. Take a break, listen to a promo. Come back.
These days, more authors are including mental health content in their books. But do you ever wonder how accurate some of this stuff is?
Or do you ever read something where you know the author just gets it?
I'm Elise.
And I'm Priscilla.
And we are Novel Feelings, a podcast where we discuss mental health issues in fiction novels.
We are psychologists and book lovers, and we have a lot of opinions.
So look for Novel Feelings wherever you get your podcasts.
Now, back to your show.
I've got some things that have just occurred to me that I want to ask you about.
Oh, okay. Okay, ask away, ask away.
You know how in, what's it called? What's the one? Hold on, I'm looking back. In An Absent Dream, where Lundy keeps going back and forth and back and forth and back and forth and back and forth.
Yes.
Is something like that going to happen to Sumi? I mean, we know that Sumi does things in her world, and you know, we met her daughter several books ago. But like, I feel like something bad is going to happen.
I don't know, because in this one, when she's talking to, I can't remember if it was the headmaster or the fake headmaster, there seems to be a lot of options about it. It seems to be propaganda that you get to go through the door once and then that's it. It seems to be actually you do have the option to go back and forth until you do reach a decision. Even the cutoff at 18 seems to be questionable.
Yeah, well, I mean, yeah, and we know, I mean, Julia, Miss Lennox, talks to Sumi about that because, like, 18 being the age of majority is arbitrary. Like, it's not the same. It's not the same for everyone. So she explains that, you know, and it makes sense. And also, like, Eleanor can open her door anytime she wants to, but even though we don't know a lot about Eleanor's door, except for that it's very nonsensical and like, but she can go back there whenever she wants to, essentially, but she's waiting for her mind to break down a little bit, I think, so her brain will be nonsensical again. So we know that if you go to a place that like has a door that you can go into more than once, it seems like you can just do it as much as you want to. But like, I think that there are some of them, like Christopher, he very obviously wants to go back through his door, but where is it? And I guess we can go in and out of the moors, because we've gone in and out of the moors several times.
But then Jack can open up the door at the moors as well. She has that ability.
Right. And like Cora really wanted to go back to the trenches, but she can't. Is she going to have to try to drown herself again in order to go back?
Not necessarily. I mean, it might be answered in a later book.
Yeah.
These questions, and I think it's something that we need to try and remember and revisit.
Yeah.
But for me, the doors open when you need them to open, not because you want them to open.
Right. Oh, that brings me to another question. The girl, Rowena, who went through the door and lost 6 years of her life, or gained 6 years of her life, I guess. What kind of a door was that?
A horrific one.
A horrific one. But, like, the doors seem, in most places, to be, like, an escape, to be a safe haven, to be safety.
But the thing is, as well, we haven't really found out much about what goes through that door. So, yes, she was in our time there for 3 hours, but there she was, what, 6 years or something? I can't remember.
Yeah.
Or 3
Yeah.
years. So, but was it
Was she there for 6 years living,
6
or she was
years, or was she actually only in there for 3 hours, like
Yeah.
in that dimension? Does time
Yeah.
work the same there? So yeah, okay, in our month, she would be potentially old and dead, but in that world, she might have lived for 100 years, conquered lands, become a queen, and, you know, flown dragons. I don't know. She could have lived a life in what would only be a month for us. So as horrific as it sounds, we're saying it's horrific from our side, and the fact that she's been spat out and her family reject her because they don't think it's her. And you can kind of understand why. It sucks, but they're expecting a little baby girl and not a preteen.
Right.
So I think we don't know enough to be able to judge it properly, but from an outside looking in, it sucks.
Yeah. I really, I wish that there was a collection, a compendium or something with all of the doors and just a little bit about each of them.
Your
I would really
librarian
like to read that.
showing.
I know.
And I
just want to know.
1000% agree. I want I want them to be pictured as well. I want, well, the door looks like this, and this is what you'll expect to find. Yeah, the librarians in us are screaming for a compendium.
Yeah, we need this. We need a collection of doors. I really liked meeting all of the new characters, though, especially after the background info, oh yeah, mostly everyone that I've wanted to talk about is, dead.
Oops. Sorry,
Whoopsie.
not sorry. Yeah, it was, I really quite liked the nameless girl. Was it Marianne?
Yes, Marion. Yes.
Yeah. I quite liked her, and I'm a little worried. I don't want her to shrink into non-existence, or if she wants to become a rat, then all power to her.
Yeah.
But she seems to be being pursued by the Rat King because she rejected his advances.
Yes.
Dude, she's a kid.
Yeah, stop it.
Stop being a perv.
That's gross.
It's wrong. It's gross.
But however old she is, that's pretty old for a rat. She's.
I don't care. I was listening to something, and it was a question of it's a ridiculous question, but it was one of these hypothetical of, if you were to have sex with an alien, what is the age of consent? And a lawyer replied to say that it is, just because they're 50 on Earth doesn't mean that they are a consenting adult on where they're from. So you can't, go by those laws. So I'm applying the same logic. She's still a kid, regardless of whatever door she's in.
Yeah.
Especially if we harken back to the whole, do the doors wait till you're quote unquote majority of being 18, which, they're arbitrarily just deciding is adulthood. Well, she's not. So
no.
Stop being a perv, you to the Rat King, basically.
Stop being a perv, you pervy rat.
Yes.
Do you know what else I liked?
What?
Seeing. Yes, see me, always see me. Seeing Regan not riding her bestie.
Grabbing her boobs.
We had a bit of a conversation about that, though, in our Discord. I think it was Discord. Yeah,
yes,
it was. We were questioned. We were questioned about that.
It was an interesting discussion, though, and it's something that we wanted because, it has our interpretation of it the same as other people's, and it's not, which is great. And that's why the Discord is there, for people to have that kind of discourse.
Yes. Join us. Join us there.
Yes, join us on our Discord. Links are in our socials. But I still insist that she was riding her bestie and grabbing her boobs. It's just weird. But I was glad to finally see Reagan had a point.
Yes.
That's as harsh as that sounds. Because
Right.
the last book was so, Across the Green Grass Fields, was so standalone. It's difficult to have seen where the relevance was within the series, but now we have that relevance. It doesn't make me I'm enjoying that book any particularly more. It's just it's not suitable for me. It's not to my taste. But it's nice to see that character come here, and I probably appreciate her a little bit more now, because she has relevance.
Yes.
She's
yeah, I
bringing
agree.
something to the party.
Yes.
I actually like Cora better than this book as well, because the last time we had Cora, I can't remember what the book was called now, but the last time we had
Tumbling
Cora,
Down.
yeah, she really left a bitter taste in my mouth, and I think
Yes.
it was the same for you.
Yeah, she was very grating and just annoying in that one.
Yeah. But she was much more assertive in this one, and she was like a problem solver. And at the
Yes.
moment, that's like really hitting my spot, because I'm, embroiled in all this stuff going on. Having that driven personality to say, this is the problem, this is the solution,
Right.
rather than this is the problem, what do we do about it? And it's so bloody corporate and annoying, and I hate the phrase, but I've been repeatedly saying it out loud to myself as I've been getting vexed. Stop bringing me problems, bring me solutions. I'm annoying myself over it. Trust me, I am. But that was really hit the spot with me with Cora, because she was highlighting the issue. She was saying this is the plan to get around it. And I really, really liked that.
Yes, I
So
appreciated
she's
that.
redeemed herself a bit.
I appreciated that she, came to her rescue, but also Sumi came to her rescue too. Like,
Sumi's just a breath of fresh air, isn't she?
she really is.
I mean, I say a breath of fresh air, but for every step that she takes and every time she moves, I just get the sense of like, you just smell icing sugar.
Yes. Yeah,
and
there's
marshmallows and
and there's like
popping
sprinkles.
candy. Yes, constantly.
Yes.
The thing that probably got me most about this book, and I nearly sent you a message for you to tell me where can I skip to, was Cora's story at the beginning.
Yeah, it was
It
harsh.
was too real for me. Like, kids are horrible. Like, horrible bullies.
You will notice in the summary it's bullying, eating disorder, bullying, eating disorder. Done. Not going into any details about it, because yikes.
The details go in the book, and it gets a bit graphic at times. And some of it was too real for me. I was like, no, is this going to be the entire book? And I was really worried that, because obviously Cora was taking centre stage, and we know Cora is a bigger girl, and we know that her body image is where she completely lacks confidence, which is 100% me as well, that I was really worried that this book was going to be constantly doing this, and to the point where I was going to have to say to you, I need to know my stopping points where I can skip, because it's just too much.
Yeah.
I don't need to hear this. I don't need sometimes to actually be somewhat reliving my own childhood of being called a whale by children. And as a grown adult, I can look back and think, you scumbag, horrible, shitty children. But when you are in the classroom and it's being called that, or you're in your PE lesson and you're being called that, where you're being put on the goal because, oh, you're so fat that you don't need to jump in the way of the ball, it's just going to hit you. And the harshness of children And the fact that the teachers witnessed a lot of this and didn't really do much, if anything.
Ugh.
Because is it too much? Did they like you? Which is a horrible thing to say, if the teacher doesn't like you, they're going to help defend you. And yes, there were a few teachers that were my heroes at school and did help me and did defend me and did look after me. But there were also teachers who were assholes, who just let it slide because either they didn't care, they decided it was above their pay grade, or the bullies were the sporting heroes of the group. Of the class. They're the ones who could play football, who were able to run track, who were able to do this, that and the other. So I imagine it's very similar. It's in America where the jocks are the ones that get a lot of things to slide because they're the jocks, when everybody else who's just a regular person has to deal with the shit.
Yeah.
So yeah, hearing how Cora went through to a point where she got to a worse place than I ever did was really hard.
Yeah.
But also very worth it. And it's one of these where this series, the Wayward Children series, is so freaking good at representation. Like, the spectrum from, from being queer, from being fat, from being thin, from being made of spun sugar. It's it's all there. It really is all there, and it's brilliant. And I think it's one of these things where you get to hear the lived experience of somebody else, and that is so important about books. And not to go too much into our rant about why books shouldn't be banned and why people shouldn't be stopped from reading books, but people need to see themselves in literature.
Right. And they need to see people who are not like them at all.
Yes.
It can't just be the same thing over and over and over again. Books are doorways and books are windows. No, books are windows and books are mirrors. Sorry, excuse me. I said it the wrong way.
Yes.
You can see yourself and you can see others. And you need that. And we all need that.
You do. 1,000,000%. So yeah, it was difficult but worthwhile, and I think it's very worthwhile for other people. And I'm glad I didn't have to go, Amanda, can you tell me when I can skip to?
Yeah, if we had come to that, I would have just said, you know what, Claire? I know a really good podcast. It's really great at summarizing things and giving you all of the details that you really need to know. And leaving out some of the most horrible things so you aren't crushed completely.
Yeah, some things just don't need to be reiterated. And I like to think that's one of the good things that we can do as a podcast, is that we read it very detailed and very intensely. Yeah. And then go, you know what? People don't need to hear that in a summary. We like to bring brevity. We do. Sometimes. Sometimes we have very, very, very long episodes. Yeah. I was talking about the podcast to a colleague the other day, and the contrast between if it's like a book of prose, we're like, give us the murder, we want horror, we want eyeball extraction. But as soon as it's a graphic novel, we're like, oh, we need cinnamon buns and cinnamon roll. We need all the cute and all the feels. We need the precious. Yeah. We are, if anything, a podcast of contrasts. We really, really are. We are diverse. That's all. That's the big thing. We are diverse. So good of us. Anything. Exactly. Yes, but mostly cutesy and gore. And eyeballs and teeth. And cinnamon rolls. Cinnamon rolls, yes. With glitter. Yes. Oh, it doesn't feel like a very healthy combination. No. Who is your favorite character? Sumi, come on. Though actually, I am going to give a shout out to Lord of the Forest, because he was like he was tick ridden. He had matted fur. He had like half a antler. He was not well, but he was like, I'm
No.
Lord of the Forest. He had dignity.
Yes. I really wish that in the time that everything is happening in the school and Reagan is just like chilling with this deer, that she would have found a way to like give him a little brushing, you know?
I don't know. She probably would have gotten ticks herself. You wouldn't want fleas.
No, you wouldn't. But he was so mangy, it made me sad.
He probably wouldn't let you touch him, to be
He
fair.
probably wouldn't. But, you know, he might let Reagan because she's part hooved creature on the inside.
She's part hooved. She's the hooved of the thumb variety.
Yeah, I mean, yes, her thumbs are very important. But she's hooved on the inside.
That sounds awful.
Yeah, I regret saying it. I regret saying that she is hooved on the inside.
Who was your favourite character then?
I mean, Sumi, always Sumi.
Yes.
I'm pretty sure she's always my favorite, even if she's not in the book. Like last time.
Is felt.
Yes. But also, I mean, I really appreciated Reagan this time because, like you said a minute ago, she's relevant. We know who she is
nice to have
now.
relevance and purpose.
Yes. I also...
Ooh.
What?
Yes.
No, you go. You ooh-oohed.
Oh, I was wondering, I thought you may have said that the fake headmaster might have been one of your favourite characters.
Yeah.
Because he was messed up.
Yes.
And do you know what? I was getting some serious Jack the Ripper vibes from him. Like,
Yeah.
I honestly think that the door would have spat him out. And he's like, oh, I'm anonymous. I'm going to become a serial killer now.
Yeah, totally. I am a little bit surprised that he came to a school and pretended to be a headmaster, but also, I mean, that's creepy.
Yeah.
That is creepy if you think about it.
Dodgy. It's dodgy as hell.
Yeah. But yeah, I did really like him, especially when Cora asks about his door and like he gets the creepy evil smile on his face.
That was the start of the Jack the Ripper vibes.
Yes.
I was honestly like, oh,
yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
Like, he must have met the actual Whitehorn online because he said that's where he gained an identity and people remembered him.
Yeah,
So...
and how horrible is the Whitethorn guy in that he wants to get rid of all the doors and, you know, tortures people in his school. So they're besties. Do you think... It's very weird, this question that I'm about to ask based on the rest of the series. But, like, is... the true headmaster, the janitor headmaster, is he gonna be a recurring character now? Because
we're gonna meet him again. We've got to.
I mean, he wants to get rid of the doors, they said. So
it's almost like we've finally met the big bad of the series,
right?
But I mean, to be fair, the institute, which, by the way, if anywhere is called, if any educational establishment that isn't science-based is called an institute, don't trust it.
No, don't go there.
No, don't ever go there.
No.
But that still exists, and there's still a potential that Eleanor may still send students there who she thinks need to. I mean, she's got to know what goes on there, surely.
Well, if she doesn't, she will now.
Yeah,
because Cora and Sumi have come back,
but then
and brought a whole crew with them.
Yes, I mean, Rowena could have come with them, and she would have had a home at Eleanor's.
I know that bothered me a little bit. Why didn't they were all excited to go back to their doors and like, oh, you know, he's been keeping the doors away, so when you get outside the walls, you'll be able to go back through your door. But like, you don't have to. You don't have to go through the doorway. You know,
no.
Stephanie was very excited to go back to the dinos, but like, she didn't have to.
No, no, and this is what actually it's probably a big surprise now. I'm thinking about it. Is that Rowena did stay? I mean, I understand why she did, but I also think Cora and Sumi, possibly even more Sumi, could have, should have, would have said to Rowena, you know, you'll have a home at Eleanor's.
Yeah. You
can stay at Eleanor's. You'll have an identity at Eleanor's. You can grow up at Eleanor's.
Yeah. You
so
can.
It's probably my biggest surprise thinking about it now.
Yeah. I think I was surprised that the headmaster being fake and being the janitor and all of that sort of stuff, that was kind of surprising to me. It didn't make a whole ton of sense, and it was immediately resolved. And that kind of bothered me a little bit. Like, I would like to have known more, I think, but it was very quickly resolved. Like, oh, he's fake. How do you know he's fake? Well, he told me that his identity was taken away, so that means no one knows who he is. Oh, okay.
She worked that out very quickly.
She did. She really, really, really did. But he also said that he grew up on the internet, and, text gave him an identity, which makes sense. So if you'd read about the school, you would know that the school exists because you'd read about it. It's not like you have to look at a picture of the school. You don't have to look at a picture of something. You don't have to see something in real life to know that it's real.
No, but generally speaking, when it's a boarding establishment, you would have pictures of the faculty and bios of the faculty.
Well, obviously you would.
So, I mean, it makes me think, on the website... Oh, what's the actor that was in the Marvel actor, and he was in Barbie and Shang-Li and Suit? Oh, and he did all the stock pictures.
What?
He's the Marvel. He plays. Oh, I can't remember. Hold on,
Are you talking about the guy who? What's his name?
Shang-Chi. Yeah, no, do you know Sumi Liu, who played Shang-Chi?
Okay, yeah, what about him?
He infamously was a stock photo model. So if you Google image him, there's all these stock photos of him, and when Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings came out, all these stock photos came to the surface, and he owns it, and which he should, because it's paid employment. There's no shame in it.
Sure.
But I've just got this image of the Whitethorn Institute. It's got Simi Liu as the fake headmaster.
It's just a stock
and because
image.
Nobody remembers the real headmaster, everybody's like, oh, there you go.
Yeah. Oh, it's that guy.
Yeah, it's that guy.
See, I imagine it being like the link to the photo is broken, so it's just got the little broken picture corner.
Oh, but you've got to download the picture and it doesn't download properly.
Yeah, it's just broken. It just doesn't work. I wonder what he looks like. Why won't someone fix their website?
Well, then, would you trust a school that doesn't have its website working?
No. I don't know. I don't even know where we are right now in a conversation. It's gone places that I wasn't expecting it to go.
Yeah, well, hello. This is Fictional Hangover podcast.
I know.
Anywho.
Should we just move on? Is it time?
Yeah, I think we're at that time.
Pew, pew, pew.
Okay, everybody, this is another one that we are recording ahead of time, so we don't have your comments or know what the option is that has won, But keep an eye open for social media, because me and Amanda will no doubt do something ridiculous to celebrate your comments anyway.
Yes, we will. I'm sure we will.
Quest-
At some point,
Definitely.
sometime.
And it'll be less than a minute long.
Yes.
We are going to ask, we have asked on social media, would you rather have your name taken away or always have to eat the opposite of your favourite things?
I need other people's comments.
I know, this one especially would be very helpful to be able to piggyback off somebody else's.
Yes.
Well, I'm trying to think, what's your favourite things to eat?
I
love
know.
pizza.
Like
I love
what's
cheese.
what's the
I love
opposite?
sushi.
What's the
What is the
opposite of those things? And like you can still eat it. It's not like they're feeding you poison.
I mean, I like to drink water. So does that mean I've got to drink alcohol all the time and I'm going to be pissed as a fart? I don't think I could cope with that.
Yeah. I don't know.
Is the opposite of pizza a salad? I don't mind a salad.
I'm fine with
Couldn't eat
that.
it all the time.
Remember, we've had this conversation before. The tattoo episode.
Yes, but you know what? Have your name taken away. I joke all the time when you introduce yourself. When I introduce myself to new people, especially at work. Hello, my name's Claire, but I also respond to "or you."
Yeah.
So
like, you don't. As probably painful as this is going to sound, like you don't have to have a name.
you don't have to even have the name you've got.
No.
How many people use their middle name?
Right.
Or a nickname that makes no freaking sense.
Right.
Or a shortened name.
Yeah, and like
called Sam, but the real name is Alexander, and it makes no sense.
Right. Yes. Or like you have a nickname, but it changes all the time because, whoever gave you the nickname has come up with something else silly to call you or to say, whatever. Like, or how often, if you're with people that how often do you actually call someone by their name?
Oh, no.
That's weird to me. If I'm at home and my husband calls me by my name just in a regular conversation, not like calling across the house, Amanda, come here, do this, whatever. It feels weird to me. And I think I've said to him many times, like, don't call me by my name.
I've said that to my child.
It's weird.
Like, as a parent, my name does not exist. I'm mum or so-and-so's mum.
Yeah.
I'm starting to reassert that identity.
Yeah.
Like, I get calls from the school. Is that thingy's mum? Yeah. Don't have an identity. So I think I'm used to having my name taken away.
Yeah.
So
yeah, that's fine. Yeah, and then we can still eat pizza and salad if we want to eat pizza and salad.
Yeah, you're not taking sushi away from me. Or cheese.
No.
Cold, dead hands.
Yes,
I want my sushi, I want my coffee.
I thought... I thought you were...
She's lost it again. Professionalism this week's outstanding.
It's gone. I thought, you said cheese, and then you just went right into saying cold. Like, I thought that you were going to describe the kind of cheese that you like. Cold, like, I don't know, hard cheese. I don't know what kind of cheese you prefer.
Yes.
Soft
the
cheese.
Answer is yes.
Like, yes.
But I'm really in the mood for some brie at the moment.
Yeah. But see, I
Or
thought...
nice and warm camembert.
I thought that you were going to describe the cheese, but then you said cold dead hands, and it was like a series. So, like, I like to eat sushi. I like to eat pizza. I like to eat cheese. I like to eat cold dead hands.
I mean, only on a Sunday if I'm having Yorkshire puddings.
Oh, I don't want to eat cold dead hands.
You want to eat warm dead hands?
Sure.
With, like, some nice Cajun seasoning on.
Yeah.
Or maybe some peppercorn sauce. You need a flavour.
Yeah, but, off the bone, because I don't like to eat meat on the bone. So we'd have to, it'd have to be shredded. Shredded
Ooh,
dead
you could
hands.
have like a pulled dead hand,
yeah.
like sandwich or something. Or you
Yeah.
could have it in like a
Or like ground up
burrito.
into a meatball.
Yeah.
Maybe we should
You
stop
could
talking
shred
about
it into a
eating people.
burrito. Yeah, don't do cannibalism. I think we've said
Don't do cannibalism.
that is literally a house rule. If you ask my child, he will tell you that one of our house rules is don't eat people.
Right, but not don't do cannibalism.
I mean,
That's a better way to say it, Claire. Don't do cannibalism.
don't do cannibalism.
Don't do cannibalism. That sounds
Unless you're
like
a rugby team that's been in a plane crash
sure.
and you're up a
I
mountain
mean,
for several
unless you
months
need to survive.
and it's survival. If you're in an urban environment, you don't need to do that.
No. If you're not in an apocalyptic sort of situation, don't do cannibalism.
I mean, to be fair, let's just do a broad sweep of don't do cannibalism.
Sure.
Yeah, I feel like we're entering a weird.
We are. We keep adding like justifications to cannibalism, and we need to stop doing that.
Yeah. Don't do cannibalism.
End of sentence.
Next question. Let's just move on. Let's ignore it and move on.
Would you rather hear the loud white noise nothingness of the nameless girl saying her name, or the loud high-pitched caning of Miss Lennox remembering?
Oh, I'll go for the white noise.
No, it was so scary.
Oh, yeah, that's probably why I'm going to go for it. It's
I mean,
spooky, I
same.
liked it.
Same.
I would get. Judge me for all you like, don't at me, but I would get really pissed off with Miss Lennox and her loud, high pitched keening.
Probably I would have
shut up.
slapped her. Probably I would have
Yeah.
slapped a bitch.
I would lose sympathy very quickly. However, the white noise, nothingness of the nameless girl, like, I could deal.
Yeah.
Because it's creepy. I
Yeah.
like creepy.
For some reason in my head, I just imagine her like opening her mouth creepy and too wide, like, one does in a horror
it
movie.
distends.
Yeah,
Yeah,
of
yeah.
course. And
I'm
she's
glad
not
we're on the
actually like
same vibe.
saying the shape of her name. She's just yeah, like that.
Yeah.
Like that.
I'm glad we've got the same vibe.
Sure. Of course we do. What's our next question?
Would you rather go to a 2D world or a world where time moves faster?
I kind of like the idea of the 2D world.
Yeah.
Even though we had a pretty good discussion of the time world when we were chatting, and maybe time moves differently there, so it's not like you just shrivel up into a dust immediately while you're there, but I don't know, I think I like the 2D world. I think that's very interesting. I mean, I've watched a lot of my husband playing Paper Mario, and like you can turn sideways and sneak into places. Like
that is literally what I was thinking. I have seen
Right?
so many Paper Mario YouTube videos
yeah,
and playthroughs, and my child playing it.
yeah,
And I'm like, let's go.
yeah, yeah. So I want to go because like
Let's go and defeat the Origami King. I don't know if it's the Origami King you
Yes.
defeat. Let's go and defeat the Origami King in the 2D world.
yeah, I like it, and I don't care that. I mean, like the food there is delicious. He said, so it has a weird texture, but it tastes good.
Sometimes I like weird textures though. Like even though I don't like it, I'll still like keep eating it because I'm like, this is weird and I don't like it, but I
Right.
probably do like it, but I don't
Yeah.
like it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. There's a really good question that I want to ask, but I'm not gonna because I feel like we need to spend more time talking about it. So we can save that one for last. So would you rather go to a world with dinosaurs or rats?
Dinosaurs. Ba 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 ba.
I think I'm gonna have to say rats. Because, I mean, what if you go... What if you use a toilet and then a dinosaur eats the toilet around you?
Well, you shouldn't be a skivvy lawyer who abandons children for your own safety.
It's true.
Douchebag.
That's true. Also, that was a porta potty, and I have never and will never use a porta potty in my entire life. So.
And we're women. We know the art of the hover.
That's true. We do, but still not gonna do that. But I don't know. I feel like I would have a greater chance of being eaten by a dinosaur. I feel like it would take longer to be eaten by rats. You know, you could probably throw them off.
I don't know if the thousands of rats
but also
get over
like
your body,
is that
and they like the soft fleshy bits.
Is that what's happening when you go into the world? Are you immediately being eaten by whatever creature is there?
I mean, yeah, that's the assumption you're making.
I know. I'm sorry. It could be a very pleasant rat world.
But
or
I won't go the rat
world.
one because the swarm issue is a bit freaky.
But you probably won't get swarmed. Oh, but I just had a thought. The Rat King that is mentioned, is he an actual? No, but is he an actual what an actual Rat King is? Is he a lot of rats tangled up together by their tail in a knot? Is he just a pile of rats?
That is a king,
or is he a rat that is a king and wears a crown?
A person that is rat-ish and a king.
Oh, like
Ninja
Turtles.
Yes,
the Rat King and Ninja Turtles, and he lives in the sewer.
Yes, he's Splinter.
No, not that one. There's a character in the Ninja Turtles in like the 90s cartoon, and he's called the Rat King.
And
he's just a man. I wasn't talking about Splinter, who is a rat, and probably some.
Well, that's one of the variations it could be, though.
Royalty. What kind of Rat King? Everyone, tell us in the Discord when we chat about this. What kind of Rat King do you prefer?
Also, I've got to point out the rats are in the walls, and we all know how I feel about things.
You don't love things in walls. Yeah.
Dinosaurs don't go in walls. Dinosaurs don't.
They go through walls.
Exactly.
Okay, that's fine.
Would you rather go to the world that is always Halloween, or nowhere else because that's the best world we've ever heard about so far?
We have to go there.
I need to go there. Why aren't we there now?
I don't know. I
want to live there.
That's the best. That's the best world. That's the best world that we've heard about.
I'm feeling really cheated that we have not been there yet.
I know. I would love to read about this world. And what if Christopher meets... This is Emily, right? Emily goes to the Halloween world. What if Christopher and Emily meet each other and they have a connection because I feel like their worlds are the most similar.
Yes.
Because he's Day of the Dead, essentially.
Yes.
And she's Halloween. Maybe they're going to be best friends.
Halloween, Halloween, Halloween. Everybody scream. I hope so.
You've been singing a lot in this episode.
Yeah, sorry. I really can't
sing.
No,
there's nothing wrong with it.
Everybody's ears are bleeding. Don't at me.
Right. But I hope that we see them interact, because I should have said this at the beginning of the episode. This is the last one that I have read prior to podcasting. Before we were talking about it a lot. I've read this one before. Well, I've read this one before.
Bragging.
When I read this one the first time, I'm caught up now.
Ha! At last you're in my world.
Yes.
I want to know if in Halloween world do they have the target 12-foot skeletons, and I hope they do. It's Scully Joe's world. Scully, it's your world.
No, Scully Joe's world is Christopher's world.
Oh, that's true. But he was a Halloween decoration.
Yeah, but he's also a skeleton.
Oh, you can live wherever you want, Scully Joe.
That's true. You choose which door you want to go into, little friend.
Yes.
I need more. I need this Halloween world.
Yes,
I need it to be a thing. Maybe Christopher goes with Emily to her world, and then there's a door to his world.
That'd be cool.
Because there have been in all of the books, like, well, these worlds are similar. So, they're next door to each other. So it's easier to get from this one to this one than it is from this one to this one.
Yes.
Then why are the dinosaurs in the cookie world?
Cookie-shaped dinosaurs.
Dino nuggies.
Dino nuggies. Oh, who doesn't love a dino nuggie? I really fancy dino nuggies now. Straight up.
I know. I don't even know if that was a proper question, but that's the end of Would You Rather.
Well, it's our podcast. We can do what we want.
Favorite final thought quote.
Oh, here we go. The thought of trying to analyse the poetry of Emily Dickinson without calories was enough to make her want to cry.
Even with calories.
Yeah. I've got a friend who loves Emily Dickinson. I'll just get her to do it for us.
Sure.
Died once, didn't like it. Not going to do it again. Thanks, Seanan.
Aw, Seanan.
I'm not that kind of killer. Don't you mean I'm not a killer? I say what I mean usually. And I'll give you one more. Childhood is confusing. Adulthood even more so.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
What do you got?
We can't make things that happened not have happened by wishing that they hadn't. She paused. Did that sentence even make sense?
Yes. Well done.
It did. I never wanted to be a hero, but that doesn't mean I'll let you turn me into a villain.
Love it.
I know plenty of functional adults who do a lot worse than staring off into space, and no one punishes them. And finally, doing was always better than just being. Doing was a choice. And I have to say that one because I was recently in my life told to do less.
That is so ridiculous. I'm still angry for you.
Yeah, so yeah, doing is better. Doing is better than just being.
Stay true to yourself.
Same, yes. Oh my god. Ooh, okay. If you liked this, try this. What do you suggest?
I was scrolling through Audible and stumbled across this one, and I thought it sounded interesting. Has some hashtag tenuous links.
Okay.
And it's called The Forest Demands Its Due by Kosoko Jackson. And because I've got this Audible, the narration is done by Desan Terry. So I'm going to read the summary and you can find the hashtag tenuous links. Regent Academy has a long and storied history in Winslow, Vermont, as does the forest that surrounds it. The school is known for moulding teens into leaders, but its history is far more nefarious. 17-year-old Douglas Jones wants nothing to do with Regent's king-making. He's just trying to survive, but then a student is murdered, and for some reason by the next day, no one remembers having ever existed, except for Douglas and the groundskeeper's son, Everett Everly. In his determination to uncover the truth, Douglas awakens a horror hidden within the forest, unearthing secrets that have been buried for centuries. A vengeful creature wants blood as payment for a debt more than 300 years in the making, or it will swallow all of Winslow in darkness. And for the first time in his life, Douglas might have a chance to grasp the one thing he's always felt was missing: power. But if he's not careful, he will find out that power has a tendency to corrupt absolutely everything.
That's amazing. Is this the prequel story for the janitor?
It feels like it. When I was reading it, I was like, oh, this is a good one to recommend. And what I did that age-old thing of judging a book by its cover.
Sure.
It's obviously, books covers are there to attract us.
Yeah.
It's really cool. It's really cool. It's a really cool book covers. Check out the cover.
Okay.
But
Yeah.
I was like, just having a scroll. I'm like, that sounds like it could be a good one to link in
Yeah.
with the story. What have you got?
Okay. Well, I went on a hunt for more Portal fantasy, and I found this one that really made me feel #tenuous link to one of the characters. This one is a series by Brandon Mull. It's the 5 Kingdoms series, and this is book 1, Sky Raiders. On Halloween, below a haunted house,
Yes.
Cole Randolph wanted to have fun and maybe get to know Jenna Hunt a little better. But he dives after friends, whisked away to the outskirts. The 5 kingdoms lie in between: wakefulness and dreaming, reality and imagination, life and death. Some people are born there. Some find their way there from other worlds. And once people are in the outskirts, they find it very hard to leave. With the magic of the outskirts starting to unravel, Cole and an unusual girl named Mira must rescue his friends, set things right in the outskirts, and hopefully find his way back home before his existence is forgotten.
Oh, love it.
Right?
Oh, bravo.
Yes. Thank you.
Yes, I like that a lot.
Me too. And I think it's middle grade too, so it might be. I don't want to say like. It might be fun to try that one out.
Yeah, I think we need to give that one a go. That sounds really, really good.
Yeah, but also I want to
any-
read yours.
I know they both sound really fun.
Yeah.
We should do a theme next year, where it's like what we recommended.
Yes, if you liked this, try this.
Yes.
I liked that, so I tried this.
No, if you like this, try this, because I'm recommending one and then you're recommending one. So technically we're recommending it to each other, so we can loophole it that way. And,
Sure.
you know, if we do it on a month where there's 5, then we can do 4 books. So, yeah, I'll get the doc up.
Okay, yeah, open up the calendar. Figure out a month. Okay.
What have we got for the new indie?
Okay, so this is new in Indie Spotlight. Not at all related. No #tenuous, nothing.
Sometimes it works that way.
Sometimes it does, and I just found out about it. I just read the email that we got about it. And I hate it because we got the email like earlier this month. And I completely forgot about it. But I'm excited because it is Beth Revis.
Yes.
And you know how we feel about Beth Revis.
We are pro Beth.
Yes.
We are pro Beth Revis.
Pro Breath
Revis.
Revis.
Yes.
Breath Evis.
We love her. We love her. She's so nice.
We do.
And one day her son will realise she is actually a really talented and famous author.
Yes. Right. So this one is called Full Speed to a Crash Landing. And it comes out August 6th. So I don't know, honestly, where we are in the timeline. So it might have just come out. Or it might be coming out soon, because I don't know what today is. Day of podcast release. Spoiler alert. It's the first Wednesday of the month, whatever day that is. It's August now in our timeline of things that don't make sense. But anyway, brand new. Brand new, this one. Brand new. Full Speed to a Crash Landing. Beth Revis. Ada Lamar may have gotten to the spaceship wreck first, but Looter's rights won't get her far when she's got a hole in the side of her ship and her spacesuit is almost out of air. Fortunately for her, help arrives in the form of a government salvage crew, and while they reluctantly rescue her from certain death, they are not pleased to have an unexpected passenger along on their classified mission. But Ada doesn't care. All that matters to her is enjoying their fine food and sweet, sweet oxygen. Until Ryan White, the government agent in charge, starts to suspect that there's more to Ada than meets the eye. He's not wrong, but he's so pretty that Ada is perfectly happy to keep him paying attention to her, at least until she can complete the job she was sent to pull off. But as quick as Ada is, Ryan might be quicker, and she may not be entirely sure who's manipulating who until it's too late.
That sounds so delightful.
Yes, and it is
But
a
Ada
novella.
is giving me Sumi vibes.
That's fine. Okay, that's fine. And also,
Okay.
it is a novella,
Uh-huh.
as are all of these books.
So it is a hashtag, the tenuous of tenuous links.
Tenuously tenuous link.
We love it when it's so tenuous, it's tenuous.
Yes. Okay. That's it for this episode of Fictional Hangover. I'm Amanda.
I'm Claire.
Join us next time as we discuss Heartstopper Volume 5 by Alice Oseman, featuring superfan Drew.
Yay!
Look out for our Would You Rather polls and monthly challenges on social media, and also our shorts now that we're making, because we're doing that more often. Don't forget about our book club on Discord. Talk about this book with us. Be sure to visit our shop on Redbubble at fictionalhangover.redbubble.com for all your favorite Fictional Hangover-themed merchandise, and become a patron of ours on Patreon at patreon.com/fictionalhangover, where you can watch this video if you join it. Until next time, remember, the only cure for a fictional hangover is another book.
You can find us at fictionalhangover.com. Follow us on Instagram, Threads, TikTok and YouTube at Fictional Hangover. And find us on Facebook at facebook.com/Fictional Hangover. If you like this episode, check out our others and be sure to rate, review and subscribe so you don't miss out. And finally, special thanks to Liz Emerson for our music. You can find her on Facebook and Patreon. Thanks for listening.